Direct from the broskination headquarters in Los Angeles, California, this is the Broski Report with your host, Brittany Broski.
When you get up. Hey guys. Whoa. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Get up, team. Happy. Ew, did you hear my fucking throat? Did you just hear that? Ew. Hey guys, what is going on? Happy Tuesday, or whenever you listen to the Broski Report, because this is Power Hour with Brittany Broski on the Broski Report. Tonight at 10, experts claim lymphatic drainage is the key to a youthful glow. We have an expert here, Dr. Broski, tonight to teach us a bit about it. More at 10, someone was accepted into Shiz University, but are nepotism claims at hand? More to come tonight. Okay, guys. 2 things to talk about today. 3, actually. 4, 5. Number 1. Yes, I'll dispel the rumors. Is dispel what I think it means? Dispel definition. Make a doubt disappear. I am so smart. Because, you gotta pull these words out of the recesses of your mind. And I'm reading a book right now called Redrising, which I think I've talked about before. There's fucking 100 books in this series. Like, I'm just trying to be done with it. And it keeps getting crazier. I'm like, at the end of book 3, I was like, and where the hell is he gonna take this? And somehow, I don't know, like 18 wars later, it's like Star Wars, but a bit more crass and a bit more classist and a bit more kind of like commentating on society. Because if you think about it, it's just like society but worse in the future. I've talked about this a little bit, where Redrising goes into what does the galaxy look like post-American Empire, okay? Because as we know, all empires rise and fall. I've spoken about this ad nauseum. Add that to your Latin phrase collection, ad nauseum. I've spoken about this before and how what an interesting concept, because yeah, one could claim that the American Empire is something to behold, and it's not good. No empire ever is. So, I mean, it's not in this like historical academic version of an empire, you know what I mean? But like the American ideology and the American entertainment industry, and I mean the way that we meddle in foreign affairs, it is this sort of like global power slash, but we're a falling global power, which a lot of the older generations will not admit, that we're losers. We are freaking embarrassing internationally. We're a joke. People make fun of Americans. Like, it's not this American exceptionalism thing. It's like, it's so cringy. When I go overseas, I'm embarrassed to be American. Anyway, though, okay. Moving right along. What the fuck was I going to talk about? Redrising. I will say something about his writing. Is the first 2 books, I was like, this feels like it was written by a teenager. It feels like it was written really short and staccato and like, this is this, and that is that, and I am this, and it's like this. And I was like, okay, I guess I get tonally what he's going for, but it was kind of, I don't know, it felt not thought out all the way. And now I'm 5 books deep and I'm like, this shit is, how could he not have thought this out all the way? Or I don't know what his writing style is. Of you start writing, a character or a concept and you just see where your brain takes you, and it's sort of a challenge of when you hit a wall, how do you go around the wall? How do you build over the wall? How do you make the wall disappear? You know what I mean? Like, there's the story is very inventive, and it's very, I never know what these characters are going to do next, but that makes a great story. That these characters have so much depth, and like any good character, they are not just one singular, like one-dimensional characters. They have their faults, and sometimes they're inconsolably awful. Sometimes they are, deeply flawed, that makes it hard to root for them. But you see the heart of them and you see, okay, well, I understand why he did that, but he shouldn't have done that. But then you zoom out and it's like, well, he didn't have another option. It's so good. It's so good. And It really is akin to the way that you fall in love with some of the Game of Thrones characters, where it's like even through their flaws or even in their evil doings, when they're unabashedly evil, I still like the character because what an interesting character. You know what I mean? Aemond is one of them. I'm wearing my Aemond Targaryen shirt. Aemond is a great example of like, he is unashamedly evil. But he does it under this guise of like, if I am king, then that's the best for the realm. You know, I will lead this kingdom back into glory, sort of thing, even though he is so ill-equipped. And wanting to be king means you're not the right choice. Do you know what I mean? Like, the fact that you want power means you should be absolutely as far away from power as we can possibly keep you, because that is the testament of a true leader, is I don't know what I'm talking about, is the ability to remove yourself from the position of power, from the office you hold or the throne you may hold, and be able to look at it as a citizen of your realm. You know, what is the best for them? Because at the end of the day, it's not about us, the royal family, and it's not about how we can pad our pockets. It's about the good of the people and about the prosperity and the posterity of this realm. Do you know what I mean, guys? Are you rocking with me on that? Let's keep going. All that to say, I was accepted into Shiz University because I complained. And complaining will get you so far in life, you know, or it won't get you anywhere. It really depends how you complain and the method in which you complain. Actually, I wasn't done talking about Red Rising. In Red Rising, the later books, because I was comparing the early way that he wrote the books to later in the series, where he uses, it's almost annoying sometimes trying to prove that he knows big words. You know, it's like synonym.com, except I will give this to the author. The sentences are so beautifully constructed, and he is a master of a monologue. These characters will monologue for hours, and it's good. It's so good. I'm riled up. I'm like sitting on the couch reading under my little reading lamp, and I'm like, God damn, let's go to war. It's gonna go to war. I will fight for my planet. If I was from Mars, bitch, I'd be so annoying about that shit. If I truly was from Mars, I'd be like, full Martians! Because the way, okay, listen, guys, let me just sort of explain this lore, because even if you don't care, you're about to. There is the inner core, okay, which is Mercury and Venus. There is the core, which is Earth and Luna, which is the moon, and Mars. And then there's the outer rim, which is Saturn and my very educated mother. Pizzas. Y'all remember that what is the word for that? Mononym, pseudonym, anumonym? What's it called when you have something to memorize something else? Word for homonym, seminomonym, feminine nomenon. Word for memorizing. Word memorization techniques. Mnemonics. Mnemonics. Famous mnemonics. And why the fuck is it spelled like that? Mnemonics. That's about to piss me the fuck off. How am I going to remember that? And that's literally the word for remembering shit. Oh, that's going to... Mnemonics. It's not even mnemonics. It's mnemonics. Oh, I hate that. Roy G. Biv. PIMDOS. My very educated mother just served us. Okay, now see, they fucking changed this bullshit because they are rewriting history in front of us, sheeple. Wake up, sheeple. They said Pluto's not a planet. They rewrote history. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. That is the mnemonic. And they sat here and changed it entirely. My very educated mother just served us noodles? Are you out of your gob? Are you out your gob? SWBST, a mnemonic for writing a summary. Somebody wanted, but so then. Interesting. The fat cat lives in the attic. a mnemonic for fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, and K. Oh, I didn't even think about y'all probably got them in the medical community. Because how the hell are y'all memorizing all that shit? Imagine your doctor's over your hospital bed like, okay, the fat cat lives in the attic. A, vitamins A, D, E, K. Okay, you've got lymphoma. Like, what the fuck? Leo says, grr. A mnemonic for the relation between oxidation and reduction, loss of electron. Okay, now here's another joke. The people at Chernobyl, as that shit was melting down, like, okay, Leo says grr, a mnemonic for the relation between oxidation. Yeah, the core melted. Yeah, we're gonna die. Your skin's about to flay off your fucking bones like a chicken. Okay, here we go. PEMDAS, of course we know PEMDAS, but I didn't, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, I just knew it as PEMDAS, which is parentheses, I'm not going to look, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. But did y'all know in the UK they do it different? What is PEMDAS in the UK? BODMAS. Fuck you, dude. Y'all love to be difficult for no reason. BODMAS? Oh, that's about to piss me off. I'm actually irrationally mad at that. BODMAS? It's the same fucking concept. It is the same. Oh, I'm actually about to seethe. Seethe alert. There is no difference between them. The order of operations for brackets, orders, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It's the same for both rules, but they say brackets and orders. I would never know what an order is. You're talking about exponents. You're talking about something to the nth degree, to the xth degree, and you're calling that an order? PEMDAS term is used mainly in the US, but in India and the UK, colonialism, we call it BODMAS. What the fuck? BODMAS Khan Academy. I have got to watch someone. How do they use order? See, look, he says exponents here. So you bitches are smoking meth. I am very sorry to report that I just tried to Khan Academy. Who the fuck remembers Khan Academy? I just tried to Khan Academy a smart board of someone doing a BODMAS equation. And unfortunately, this young gentleman is speaking a language I just do not understand. And he's switching between English and this language that I do not speak, and that's okay. It's just a lost cause, though. Orders. English, British, maths, operations. Why do they call it whatever, dude. Okay, any British people in the comments, can you explain to me what orders means? Because why don't you just say exponents? Because that's what it is. Like when you look up that, it comes up as exponents. So I find it difficult to believe that y'all are in the classroom talking about, and then to the something older. That's stupid. It's exponents. Okay? Hey, y'all. And who's that comedian who was just on SNL who did this script? Who did this whole line of jokes about like, and it's like the founding fathers in the 1700s, and he plays the main guy where he's like, and we will have a temperature system that is completely different from the other side, my brain just shut off. My brain just stopped loading. It's got the little loading circle. Hello. Oh, I wanted to talk about ASMR. I've got a lot to talk about. Let me get through this fucking. He says, and we will have a temperature scale that only we use and no one will understand it. And then he said, we're going to come up with a number for the number 12, and that will be a dozen. And Bowen Yang says, well, are there any other numbers that have a different word for it? And he goes, no. That's funny. Okay. This whole podcast is just, let's watch SNL together. Let's watch SNL because sometimes SNL is back, but other times complete miss. More often than not, complete miss. Okay. But sometimes there's some bangers. That skit made me laugh. Made me laugh real, real hard. Okay. Who is that comedian? I like him. Unless he's problematic, then I don't. You know what I mean? Like, that goes without saying. Unless he's problematic that I didn't know about, and then I don't like him. So don't fucking do that. Okay? Who just hosted SNL? Nate Bargatze. This guy. Yeah, he's got my eyes. He's got some real scary looking eyes. They kind of just bulge. They bulge everywhere, just like me. Yeah, we might be related, actually, the more I look at him. Yeah, he's got those scary bug eyes. I know my kin when I see him. Is he English? Nate Bart. That's an interesting last name. Let's see what's going on there. He is from Nashville, Tennessee. Does he have a Wikipedia? Boom. His father is a motivational speaker and magician. Sorry. What? Hey, what? His father is a motivational speaker and magician. Huh? Yay! Yay! He started his stand-up career in Chicago, like most of them do. I want to see what his last name is. I guess we won't know. Damn it. All right. This episode is brought to you by Tinder. The only thing harder than choosing a Halloween costume is dating, probably. But you guys, amazing news. Tinder's unique safety features make dating feel easy, all while keeping you safe. So all you got to think about is your first date fit and potentially a Halloween costume. Tinder cares about every step of your dating journey and wants to make sure you feel good from the first message to the first date. Safety features like Share My Date, Are You Sure, and Noonlight help you make new connections in a comfortable environment where you can be your beautiful self. Feel confident about dating fearlessly with Tinder, and I'm sure your outfit's a 10 out of 10. Explore all the possibilities for yourself on Tinder. It starts with a swipe. Download Tinder today. This episode is sponsored by Blissy. You know, the older I get, the more I make sure to incorporate the idea of small, easy luxuries. And I've started by traveling with a silk pillowcase from Blissy. You say high maintenance, I say Southern Diva. It's better than satin, which is made from synthetics, which is rough on hair and skin, and it's cheap for a reason. Silk helps prevent breakouts and blemishes. It eliminates frizz in your hair and is naturally cooling and breathable for all you sweaty hogs who toss and turn in the night, myself included. They're easy to care for and are machine washable. They also include a zipper so that they stay on your pillow. There's over 70 colors, including a new Harry Potter line. I personally love Blissy because I used to wake up with a rat's nest on the back of my head using a cotton pillowcase. Now, it's no longer a problem after switching to Blissy's award-winning dermatologist-recommended silk pillowcase. Featured in Oprah Magazine, Allure, Mary Claire. Because you're a listener, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/BroskiReport. That's BLISSY.com/BroskiReport and use code BroskiReport to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. I really need to subscribe to Ancestry.com. I feel like a lot of my questioning on this podcast, my line of questioning really delves into etymology. It dives into last names and family origins, and always circles back to colonialism somehow, because you cannot talk about things like in a realistic way, I feel like, especially when it comes to culture and countries and names and things like that, without bringing that up, because everything has been touched in some way by colonialism, which is a crazy thing to think about, truly. Like, even just then, talking about PEMDAS and Bodmas, like it's the UK and India, because of course, because they owned India until like about 15 seconds ago. This shit is crazy to me, dude. Okay. Let's go back. I just wanna go back. Hit me, baby, one more time. Wanna go back, wanna go. Okay, what the fuck was I? Famous mnemonics. Oh, my very educated mother served us 9 pizzas. Again, recognize when the government is lying to you. Recognize propaganda as it's being fed, right? Right, guys? Because Pluto, I don't know why it's not a planet. And I was so like, What? I find myself doing that a lot sometimes when news comes out or like scientific ruling says, and I'm like, what? And then I scroll. Because it's too, I don't know if y'all do this too. It's not even about stupid shit like that. It's about anything. Like, I go on TikTok to giggle. I find other media to consume my news through. I don't want to consume news through TikTok or Twitter. Like that, I'm not doing it. And so when it comes up on TikTok, I get so overwhelmed, I just scroll by it. It's like, why is no one talking about scroll? I am so fucking tired of you bitches. Like, I'm serious. Why is no one, and like, you cannot speak about this without including yourself in the narrative of like, people go on TikTok to spread misinformation. I'm guilty of it. A lot of my friends are guilty of it. You're probably guilty of it because we don't fact check. We just see shit and we repost it. Or we see shit and we're like, that's fucked up. I'm angry. And then I'm commenting and then I'm liking and then turns out it was all a lie. You know what I mean? Like and then that shit lives on the internet forever. It lives forever. And it's just scary. It's just scary, to be completely honest. So it's like, when I see that shit pop up on TikTok, like, scientists have discovered this is what I have to say about. Girl, I'd like to read that from NASA's website, not from some idiot on TikTok. Like, this is what the picture of the stars is saying about you. Why isn't Pluto a planet? According to the IAU, what is that? Pluto is technically a dwarf planet because it has not cleared its neighboring region of other objects. What does that mean? This means that Pluto still has lots of asteroids and other space rocks along its flight path, rather than having absorbed them over time like the larger planets have done. Okay, so because she's not keeping up with everyone else, you're going to cut her out of the race? Is that really how it works? Even though she's been there for fucking hundreds and thousands of 100 million years? And because she's not eating as many hot dogs in the hot dog competition, you're going to cut her? That's actually fucked up. Because she's not absorbing as much as the others. She's still there. And she's still a massive, massive unit. What are 5 reasons Pluto is not a planet? Let's go on this website, science.howstuffworks.com. Lock me into that. The downgrading of Pluto from planet to dwarf planet. Here's number 1. It had to orbit a star. What? Does it not? Does Pluto not orbit the sun? Yes, Pluto is still orbiting the sun. Pluto is classified as a dwarf planet, which is I'm really actually trying to understand this. Like, sorry, if I go nonverbal for a second, I have to get this. Pluto is classified as a dwarf planet, which is an object that orbits the sun and is large enough to be nearly round, but hasn't cleared its orbit of debris. I don't know. Why does that matter? It had to be massive enough to assume a round shape due to its own gravity. It had to have cleared its neighborhood, implying that it needed to be the gravitationally dominant object in its orbit. That makes sense. So it's getting bullied by little baby asteroids. Damn. The cuck planet. So Pluto's the cuck planet. I cannot believe NASA cucked Pluto. They put him in the cuck chair. No. Her. Since its discovery in 1930. What? We didn't know that bitch was out there until 1930? When was the Hubble telescope invented? 1990? The Hubble Space Telescope was launched on April 24th, 1990, aboard Space Shuttle Discovery's STS-31 mission. Here we go. The Hubble Space Telescope. Where is the Hubble Space Telescope? This is just me Googling. Where is the Hubble? Have y'all ever been to see it? It's actually in space. Okay, so if you've been to see the Hubble Space Telescope, let's talk after, because what are you doing up in space? The Hubble Space Telescope orbits Earth. Am I stupid? Me like, I wonder if it's in Houston. That's where the other space center is. Like, bitch. It orbits Earth at an altitude of about 320 miles above the surface. It orbits at a speed of 17,000 miles per hour and completes one orbit every 95 minutes. Damn, they still got that bitch working. Hubble's low Earth orbit also kept it within a safe and accessible range for astronauts who use the space shuttle to visit the telescope repeatedly over the years to repair and upgrade its components. Hubble's currently located 326 miles above Earth's surface. And now here's a secondary question, because I could keep talking about this for genuinely 4 more hours if you guys would want me to, and we will. My next question is, if there was a nuclear explosion, if there was an atom bomb, okay, if there was a mushroom cloud, how high up does that go into the atmosphere to where would the Hubble telescope be affected by that? Or would any astronauts up there on the space station be able to, obviously they could see it if it happened within a visible range, but at the same time, would they feel the effects? Or does the ozone layer of Earth keep that contained? Or does it go out into space? And what the fuck does that do if atomic bombs and nuclear reactions are going out into space? Okay, let's consult the Oracle, Google. This podcast needs to be sponsored by Google. I would be at a loss without this God-blessed website. And I don't know even who to ask this about. Maybe I should call my dad. I'm gonna call my dad because he was a pilot. Like, he understands this stuff. This better go through.
Hello.
Hello, Father. I am currently recording the podcast, and I have a question for you, if you're available.
I am available.
All
You may
right.
speak.
Here's what's going on. I'm talking about the Hubble telescope, okay? And I've got a question because you obviously have spent an excessive amount of time in the air. You probably know some things about the atmosphere and how it works. The telescope is on the space station about 300 miles above Earth's surface. My question is, if there was a mushroom cloud, if there was an atomic bomb, if there was like a nuclear explosion, how far up do those usually go? And could you see it from the telescope? And would something like that affect the technology of the telescope?
Well, that's several questions. I would say that as far as blast range, it would not be affected by it because most of that will be trapped within the atmosphere, and it does orbit far above the Earth. It's primarily focused towards the cosmos, so it's not really being used to look back at Earth.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that we would use something like that to monitor what was going on the surface of the Earth. But there are other resources that do that. From a radiation standpoint, that's about the only thing that would penetrate the atmosphere that might be able to affect the satellite, that supports the Hubble Space or the Hubble telescope. But I don't believe that would be any worse than the radiation exposure it gets in space directly from, say, the sun.
That's a good point, because I guess it's way closer to the sun than we've ever experienced as, like, just humans.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the big concerns is once you get beyond a certain distance from the Earth, the exposure to radiation increases dramatically because you don't have the protection of our atmosphere. So, when we look at space travel to the moon or space travel to Mars, that's one of the things that they're looking at. How do we reduce the prolonged exposure to different forms of radiation in that environment as far as protecting humans?
Is there a protective, like, material or coating on all that technology that's orbiting or that's on Mars currently that, like, obviously a human body, that's a different thing, but for the Mars rover and things like that, do you know what that technology is?
So there are materials that are used in order to reduce radiation exposure, but I honestly don't know. What the difference in exposure is between, say, the Mars atmosphere and Earth's. I think that moisture would play a big part in that, and the fact that Mars is barren of moisture, at least in a liquid form. It may be frozen beneath the surface, but there's not rainstorms on Mars. So I think that would contribute to a better protection from radiation. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of going into an area that's really beyond my knowledge.
Well, that was my question. Thank you so much.
All right. Oh, hopefully I was helpful.
You were very helpful.
But I would advise there are plenty more smarter people than me on those subjects to query.
Well, unfortunately, they did not raise me, and I do not have their phone numbers. So you were the closest call.
All right. Well, I did the best I could.
You did great. Thank you so much, Dr. Tomlinson.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, now that's tea, right? That is tea. Because I never even considered the fact that the sun has radiation. Because, and well, also, maybe I should have asked him this. Is the radiation from the sun the same? And I'm going to ask this without trying to sound stupid, okay? Not, is it the same harmfulness of like atomic radiation, nuclear radiation, but is it a different type? Right? Because one is like chemical, like artificial chemical. And then the sun is obviously, but both will burn you. Actually, what the fuck? I love this stuff. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. As the summer cools down, it might be time to leave the house more and go live life with your friends, family, or even just by yourself. That's why I need to tell you about my special offer from today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Everyone can use my code BROSKI20 and get $20 off your first purchase on SeatGeek. Sports, concerts, festivals, you name it. There are so many artists touring right now, including Post Malone, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, Troye Sivan, and Billie Eilish, and you know SeatGeek's got you covered. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, and red means bad. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and use code BROSKI20 to add to your account. Add code BROSKI20 to your SeatGeek account today. Is the radiation from the sun the same radiation from a nuclear reaction? What's the difference between the sun's radiation and radiation from a nuclear power plant? Let's fucking go, bitch. Quora.com. These bitches on Quora are in my brain. They're thinking what I'm thinking. And there's no one online doing it like the people on Quora. So let's see what's going on. This is from a bot assistant, so we don't know how good this is. But we'll go see other people's responses under this thread. What is the difference between the sun's radiation and radiation from a nuclear power plant? The radiation from the sun and radiation from a nuclear power plant are fundamentally different in their sources, types, and effects. Here's a breakdown of the differences. The sun emits radiation as a result of nuclear fusion processes occurring in its core, where hydrogen atoms fuse to form helium, releasing energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation, okay, which is a visible light, sometimes. In a nuclear power plant, wait, I'm so excited. In a nuclear power plant, radiation is produced through the process of nuclear fission. Which is the one where they were like, that's not possible. That one. Fission is something that they were like, scientists were coming in their genes when they figured it out. Where heavy atomic nuclei, like uranium-235 or plutonium-239, split into smaller nuclei, releasing energy and various types of radiation, including alpha particles, beta particles, and gamma rays. Dr. Bruce Banner. Okay, so everyone knows the story of Dr. Bruce Banner. It's because he swallowed a plutonium bomb. Types of radiation. The sun's radiation primarily consists of electromagnetic radiation, which includes visible light, UV radiation, which can cause sunburn and skin damage. And infrared radiation, which is heat that we feel as warmth. Oh my God. Science is amazing. Oh, God, the sun is so cool. The light we can see, the invisible light that can cause sunburn and skin damage, and heat radiation that we feel as warmth. All of that is considered the sun's radiation. Well, duh. I mean, when you think about that, like, yeah, that's very simple. But I'm thinking, when I hear radiation, I think like glowing neon green, skull and crossbones, do not enter here bioweapon thing. I've never thought of it like, yeah, of course the sun radiates both helpful and harmful chemicals and reactions. Duh. Oh, and here we go. A nuclear power plant radiation, because we talked about the different particles, the gamma ray, Bruce Banner, includes several types of particles in electromagnetic radiation. Alpha particles, which are heavy, positively charged particles that can be stopped by paper or skin. Beta particles, which are lighter, negatively charged particles that can penetrate paper but are stopped by plastic or glass. And then gamma rays, which are high-energy electromagnetic radiation that can penetrate most materials and require dense substances like lead for shielding. That's nuts, dude. This is blowing my freaking mind. Okay, regulation and safety. There are no regulations on sunlight exposure. Fucking duh. But public health guidelines recommend protection from excessive UV exposure. Now, nuclear power plant radiation, strict regulations govern the operation of nuclear power plants because it's man-made. Me trying to tax the sun. Okay, you sunburnt me too many times, but you're going to have to pay up. I'm sending the invoice to your billing address. And if you don't pay in the next 30 days, I'm sending it to collections. You've been warned. It's the sun. To protect workers and the public from radiation exposure, this includes monitoring radiation levels, which is, what is it called? Ronkin? It's a great word. How do you measure radiation? Rodkin? Okay, now this, you start to lose me here. Do you know what I mean? You start to kind of lose me. The device used for measurement is often the familiar Geiger counter, which is, it makes that really nice ASMR crackly noise when it's like, bad, very like inaccurate, not even funny sort of recreation of it. But in my head, I know what it sounds like, and that was my attempt at trying to recreate it. So stick with me, guys. It makes that good crackling noise when you're like really, and then it goes crazy when it's like the nuclear reactors behind here. You know what I'm talking about? If you put a Geiger counter over a gram of substance and count 3 clicks per second, the radioactivity of that substance would be 3 becquerel. Did y'all know how before the clock was invented, how people would measure heart rate? Or no. Hello? Hello? Hold on. What am I thinking of? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that people used to measure things by heartbeat when they didn't have like the clear and accurate ticking of a second hand on a clock. That took me so long to say. Before we had, like a mechanical clock that could keep time, doctors and scientists would use a heartbeat to measure things. And I don't think I just made that up. Did doctors used to drink urine? What? Did doctors used to taste urine? Did doctors used to drink urine? Did doctors used to prescribe cigarettes, recommend smoking, write prescriptions in Latin, smoke in hospitals, spank newborns, promote smoking? Write prescriptions in Latin is crazy. Oh my God. RX is an abbreviation for the Latin word recipe, but today it means prescription. Years ago, many pharmacy terms and abbreviations came from Latin because the first medical texts were written in that language. The more you know, guys! RX symbol comes from the Latin word recipe, which means take. It was often placed at the beginning of a prescription. How funny is that? The Academy of Medical Royal Colleges recommends using plain English instead of complex medical jargon. Thanks for that, guys. Here we go. God damn, this took me so long. Yes, historically, people, particularly ancient physicians, used to measure time by feeling a person's pulse, essentially counting heartbeats. As accurate clocks were not readily available, this practice was especially common in ancient Greek and Egyptian medicine, with physicians like Herophilus of Alexandria being credited with early pulse measurements using water clocks to time the beats. Okay, so I was kind of off the mark in terms of timing because I was thinking more like 1500s. This is going to be actually more, BC. So, okay. What have I been talking about? Oh, the Geiger counter. What? Rodkin. How do we measure radiation? The unit and what's considered high. Rontgen. Yes. Okay, here we fucking go, dude. Here we fucking go. I love Quora. I want to have some random person from Quora come on the podcast, and I just want to ask them anything. I want to ask the most qualified person who's answered the most Quora questions accurately, who has been peer reviewed and has been upvoted and has been fact checked. I would like to have whoever that person is right here next to me on this podcast, and I would like to talk to them. Okay. Here is Vic Gardner. Here's the question. Okay. Here's the question. How do we measure radiation? Like the unit, what's considered normal and what's considered high. This is Vic Gardner, former nuclear reactor operator at the United States Navy from 1966 to 73. And he was upvoted by Jeffrey Grayer, who is a PhD in physics in Birmingham, UK. Graduated 1968. Okay? So we've got some old geezers who know their shit about older nuclear things, okay? Because I'm sure this has changed. I will explain how ionizing radiation is measured using the units Rontgen, rad, and rem, with which I am familiar. You can convert to SI units if you wish. Don't know what that is. Units of Rontgen are, am I saying that right? Oh, because he was a German engineer and physicist, of course. Röntgen. Okay. Go back. A Röntgen is a unit of ionizing radiation, the amount producing one electrostatic unit of positive or negative ionic charge in 1 qubit. Don't care, don't understand. But the Röntgen was developed early in the history of radiation exposure, in 1928 by the International Congress of Radiology. As the science of radiation dosimetry developed, it was realized that the ionizing effect, and hence tissue damage, was linked to the energy absorbed, not just radiation exposure according to beam intensity and time of exposure. Thus, the rad, the unit of the unit of absorbed dose. So these are two separate things we're talking about. How much energy is being put out from the source, and then how much is being absorbed by whatever or whoever. Rad is the unit of absorbed dose of ionizing radiation, defined in 1962 by the International Commission of Radiological Units and Measurements as equal to the amount of radiation that releases an energy of 100 ergs per gram of matter. What? It was also realized that it is the density of ionizations which represent the potential for harm to human tissue, a term sometimes said to stand for Röntgen equivalent man. The REM was redefined in 1962 to clarify the usage of the term relative biological effectiveness. This is so interesting. Do y'all care? According to Erwin Schrödinger, is that Schrödinger's cat? Is that the owner of Schrödinger's cat? In What is Life, there is a threshold for the number of ionizing events which must occur simultaneously to an area of DNA in order to cause a mutation. And mutation cannot be the result of chronic accumulation or low-level doses. So it has to be one really intense, scary bout of exposure to radiation that's going to mutate something. Damn, he really went in on this. Okay, well, I guess that answered my question. Röntgen. But that is, do we measure the sun in Röntgen? you guys are sticking with me for this. And if you click off, I'll know. And I'm coming to your house with a weapon, with a squad of goonies, and we're going to beat you up. We're going to release radiation so intense and so lime green that you guys are going to be glowing for the next 50 years. Okay, I will come to your house and I will set off a nuclear reaction. I'm going to have a fission so intense, threatening my followers with nuclear radiation. I'm going to fizz nucleuses, nuclei, if you will. I'm going to fizz atoms in a way that will be detrimental to you and your bodily well-being if you click off this video. Is sun radiation measured in Röntgen. Solar radiation and radon, which occurs in varying concentrations around the world, are the most common sources. Radiation dose is typically measured in millisieverts, MSV. Other dose measurements in unit... What? Other dose measurement units include rad, rem, Röntgen, sievert, and gray. No, sun radiation is not measured in Röntgens. The standard unit for measuring solar radiation is watts per square meter, as it represents the energy intensity of the sunlight reaching a specific area, while a Röntgen is a unit used to measure the exposure to ionizing radiation like X-rays and gamma rays, which is not directly applicable to the broad spectrum of solar radiation. A perfect answer. Like, wow, Google. That is the perfect answer I was looking for. Thank you. Guys, seriously, take your hands off the wheel and start clapping for Google. Guys, this was really, that was a great answer. Truly. It said no, and it gave me the correct answer, and it clarified the difference. Because I've noticed, and this is, again, where are my academics at? Where are my academic girls? In college and in high school, I was always very, like, I was one of the only people asking questions in the class. I would like, almost annoying, because you can't just give me a piece of information and then just expect me to be like, okay, that's that. You know, because what if that piece of information eclipses another piece of information that is kind of the same but a little different? Like, I want to know the difference, and it'll help me understand it better so I don't confuse the two, and that I know there's a stark difference. And so I would ask questions. I'd be like, well, what's the difference between this and that? Or in language, why can't I use this, but like this works? You know what I mean? And I would hope that the professors appreciated a student being involved, but at the same time, I started to get a little self-conscious about it, because I can't move on with the lesson until I understand this. Or like, it's going to be a big question mark by it forever. And then I'm going to forget the line of questioning, and then I'm just not going to understand it. And I'm going to get frustrated at myself, and I'm going to give up. So I have to ask a question. And this shit, like learning like this, is very frustrating for me, because I have to understand it concretely, and I don't. And it's very, very annoying. It's very frustrating for me. So thank you, AI Overview Search Labs on Google. No, sun radiation is not measured in Röntgens. Thank fuck someone had the wherewithal and the bravery to say that to me. How the hell did we start talking about this? Oh, how they cucked Pluto. That's what I was talking about. No, Pluto. The Hubble Space Telescope orbits Earth at an altitude of about 320 miles above the surface. This is what we were talking about. Is the telescope... Okay, go back. When was it launched? 1990. Oh, that we were talking about, when did Pluto become classified as a planet, and then when was it declassified or reclassified as a dwarf planet? And what are the other dwarf planets? What are the other dwarf planets? Whoa! What? Dwarf planets like Pluto were defined as objects that orbit the sun and are nearly round, but have not been able to clear their orbits of debris. So far, the IAU has only recognized 5 dwarf planets. In order of distance from the sun, they are Ceres, Pluto, Haumea, Makemake, and Eris. What a fun name. Here's an infographic for all you freaks. What's it by? Did these orbit any of the... They don't orbit other planets, right? Earth's moon to scale. Oh, they're smaller than the moon. Look at that. They're not completely round. That is so weird. Haumea is not round. And even these things have moons. What? Pluto has 5 moons. This is crazy. Year of discovery. Pluto was the early... Oh, I'm joking. Ceres was actually discovered in 1801. Pluto in 1930. And the rest in 2003 and 2005. That is nuts to me. Wow. Some astronomers expect there may be as many as 50 dwarf planets in our solar system. Why are planets round? Have you guys ever stopped to think about any of this shit? Planets are round because gravity pulls equally from all sides. Gravity pulls matter in from all directions, causing it to clump together and form a sphere. Gravity is stronger in large objects, so the more massive it is, the larger its gravitational pull. We knew that. When planets were forming, gravity pulled the molten materials towards the center of the planet. So does that mean, what does it mean when a dwarf planet's not round? It's gonna blow! Everybody down! Gravity keeps matter from falling further towards the center. Planets aren't perfectly spherical because they spin. The spinning force acts against gravity, causing planets to bulge out more around their equators. The faster a planet spins, the more unround it becomes. What? Yeah, I guess because it's like fighting with the core, and it's like the core's pulling it in, but it's spinning out and it's bulging. Damn, the planet's got love handles. For example, Saturn is very oblate, which means non-spherical, because it rotates very fast. Okay, but Saturn is a planet. Smaller bodies in the solar system, like comets and asteroids, aren't round because their gravity isn't strong enough to smooth out their shape. This is crazy, y'all. Gravity pulls from the center to the edges like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. This makes the overall shape of a planet a sphere, which is a three-dimensional circle. Yeah, thanks, guys. Got it. Is Saturn round? And what the fuck is a gas planet? Saturn rings are on the equatorial plane. They go around its middle. This is because Saturn isn't a perfect sphere. It bulges a bit in the middle. This means that any ring particles that aren't going around the middle don't have a circular orbit. This means that any ring particles that aren't going around the middle don't have a circular orbit. Yeah, my brain's not really getting that. Okay. Saturn rotates on its axis every 10.5 hours, which is much faster than Earth's 24-hour rotation. This rapid rotation causes Saturn to bulge at the equator due to centrifugal force. Centrifugal. It's centrifugal motion. It's perpetual bliss. It's the moment. It's something about this kiss. Something about this kiss. Y'all know that song by Faith Hill? Centrifugal motion. How did she fit that into a lyric? Centrifugal. I have to watch a video on this. I feel like I'm just not going to get it. Centrifugal force is the apparent outward force on a mass when it's rotated. Think of a ball on the end of a string that's being twirled around, or the outward motion you feel when turning a curve in a car. In an inertial frame, there is no outward acceleration since the system is not rotating. I'm not getting it. Nope. Not getting it. This is just not my expertise, bro. I don't. Centrifugal force. Centripetal. Centrifugal. So it's something about, I know that, like, you know, when you're holding someone's hand and you spin around in a circle, it's like it feels like something's pulling you away from them, and you go faster and faster the faster that you go and the farther away that you get. Actually, that's not true. Because ice skaters, when they have their arms out like this, they're going way slower than when they pull it in tight, because that makes you spin even faster. So is centrifugal force measured by... What the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about? No! I don't want to talk about physics. I don't give a fuck about physics. I don't want to talk about this. I'm bored. I don't like this. We're going to move on, actually. We're going to move on to this girl I follow on TikTok called Alyssa. She's the one that makes the snack plates. She's like, make a snack plate with me. And it's always the most delicious shit you've ever seen in your life. And it's balanced, okay? She'll do these like homemade sweet potato salad, or like this is an egg salad with all this, you know, whatever in it. She'll do just like one tiny scoop, and then she'll do some grapes. She'll do a skinny little carrot. She'll do some fresh cheddar cheese. She'll do some olives, some pickles, maybe some strawberries, and then sometimes some protein, like a little meat stick or something. And that's sometimes her dinner. And she makes these, they're delicious because it's not like, here's some fucking Vlasic dills, and some wheat thins. It's like, I made this myself, or these are bread and butter pickles from a local, farmers, whatever. And I'm addicted to her and I want to try her little snack plates. And I feel like I'm not a Trader Joe's girl, but I feel like I need to be. And you know why? It's because they don't do Instacart. So I just never, I'm really not doing it because I usually do Instacart. And if I don't do Instacart, then I just go to Ralph's. Like I go to Vaughn's. I go to the like Kroger equivalent here because I know that. I know the layout. I know what's going on. I know the brands. Even Walmart. I'll grocery shop at Walmart because I know Great Value. I know McCormick's. I know, all that. Trader Joe's to me is, I don't know. I feel like a fish. I feel like I'm in a different country, like a fish out of water. And I go in there and it's so fucking busy. Oh my God, Chris Fleming has this joke where he says at Trader Joe's, he thinks there's only items that women can see. He is ridiculously funny. He is someone that like, you can't even, his mind must be a prison. He is so fucking funny and smart. His mind must be a true prison. I love him, dude. I think that that's a little bit on the nose of how I feel about Trader Joe's. I just cannot get into the culture of what Joe is putting down. Do you know what I mean? Because I get overwhelmed really easily. And I don't know, because there's all these different sections. There's the frozen this, and then there's Korean inspired this. But then I've heard it's not good on TikTok, but then some people are like, it's really good. And then all the fruit, where does it come from? Okay. I just get overwhelmed. And I know that their snacks are super famous. I need to drop some things in the comments below of what I need to do at Trader Joe's. Because you know who else loves Trader Joe's? Jaclyn Hill. And say what you will about Jaclyn Hill, but that bitch knows her food, okay? I love her cooking videos. And she has the best snacks. She makes the best shit for like Super Bowl Sunday and all that. I'm locked into all that. But I can't have gluten or dairy. So I'm kind of like, can you make the... I'm that bitch in the TikTok comments like, okay, but what if I don't have cream cheese? And then people are like, don't make it. Make something else. Okay, but she's like, today we'll be making my favorite potato salad. Today you're going to start with some potatoes. What if I don't like potatoes? Then don't make it. Okay, what if I'm allergic to potatoes? Today we're making my grandmother's egg salad recipe. You're going to start with 3 eggs. What if I don't like eggs? I'm actually allergic to eggs. I'll die. If I could reach through the iPhone and in Game of Thrones where they like pop their eyeballs out. Okay, what if I don't? I hate some of you bitches on TikTok. God. That I love those video essays on that of like the what about me-ism of Gen Z. Like, okay, well, what about me? Okay, well, I don't like eggs. Hey, then scroll. This isn't for you. Not every video is about you. It's not always about you. It's not about you all the time. Is that okay? It's not about you. Holy fuck. I have to get this centrifugal force off my shit. It's going to piss me off. Okay. Song of the week. My song of the week is 4x4 by Don Toliver. That'll do it for this episode of the Broski Report. I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for you listening to me, tuning in every week. Oh my God, if you're listening to this, I probably just got back from ACL because I'm pre-recording this, okay? So I'll have been at ACL, and Chris Stapleton is the best player. I love Chris Stapleton. He's like my Justin Bieber. I'm so dead ass serious. I love Chris Stapleton to death. I would scream in his face like he's Ariana Grande if I ever met him. Okay. 4x4 by Don Toliver. Go ahead and, in the spirit of Chris Stapleton, I'll give you 4 of my favorite Chris Stapleton songs to go listen to. Midnight Train to Memphis. I've talked about the Steel Drivers before. That's his old bluegrass band. Go listen to the Steel Drivers. You could listen to Outlaw State of Mind. You could listen to, one of my favorites ever is Death Row by Chris Stapleton. It's an acquired taste, okay? But go give it a listen. And then what's my favorite one? We'll do Nobody to Blame. Go listen to the song Nobody to Blame. And I Was Wrong by Chris Stapleton. Go listen to those. Okay. I love y'all. Go register to vote at headcount.org. Time's ticking away, guys. You got to register now. And, cause election day is coming up. All right. I love y'all. If you want merch, go to broski.shop. Go subscribe to all of my YouTube channels and across the board. Okay. I'm kind of everywhere. You just got to look for me. And yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Happy early Halloween. Okay, guys. Bye.